During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about what are distillers grains.
Well, a lot of times you may hear the term dry distillers grains, or DDGs. That would be the byproduct from the ethanol process. So when you bring in a whole kernel of corn, for ethanol, they'll take the starch out of it, or for alcohol production, they'll take the starch out of it and leave the rest of the kernel that actually has all the nutrition.
Okay, I just wanted to step back for a second. Why is it distillers grains? Because Darren just said ethanol and then alcohol. Well, let's not forget, it was the alcohol thing that started first. Before we even had cars that needed ethanol, we had people who wanted to have alcohol. So they produced this alcohol. It was called the distillation process, distilling, and then that's basically where this ended up. The resulting products here are, yes, you've got alcohol, but then you've got all this byproduct that is just feed. It's feed for livestock. And the good news is it's going to contain 100% of the vitamins and minerals. It's all in there. The only thing that they take out for the alcohol or ethanol production is the starch.
Well, the thing about it too, Brian, is if you've got whole corn, oftentimes you've got around 8% protein. With distillers grains, are going to be up over 20. So for cattle feeders, this has been a great thing that I can have a concentrated protein source that I could mix with almost any kind of roughage. So you think about it, if you're just taking the starch out, if you want to put starch back in, we could bale up some of the corn stalks, just a small percentage of the corn stalks in the field, replace that starch, and you're right back to a whole food situation. Or you could put it with hay or any other ration you'd like.
Yeah, and the nice thing is because it's so much more concentrated and you have so many more vitamins and minerals for every pound, well, now it actually can be shipped around the country and even around the world. So if you don't necessarily have the livestock, it's just much more cost effective to ship that to someone who does.
Now, I mentioned dry distillers grain to start the show off here, but when we think about that, it's distillers grains that have been dried down. Now, when they dry them down, yes, they can ship them a long ways away. Their shelf life is longer, but there's a lot of wet distillers grains that come right out of the plant. They've got local producers right there. Man, what a great spot to have an ethanol plant. It's right where the corn's being produced, where the cattle are being fed, make the ethanol, immediately take those distillers grains while they're still wet and just feed them up today to cattle. That's the ideal situation.
The number one reason why I like talking about distillers grains is because there was this myth out there about food versus fuel. That's nonsense. What are they even talking about? It's food and fuel. Again, like Darren said, the only thing that's coming out of there is the starch. You can replace that with a lot of very cheap starch sources. So, and by the way, we're standing in what was corn residue from last year right now. I mean, there are a lot of farmers that would love to get rid of some of that residue. Farmers will even call it trash. That's very high in starch. So again, there's no such thing as food versus fuel. It's food and fuel. Farmers can absolutely provide everything that the fuel market needs and the feed market.
Well, one thing out in cornfields that farmers don't want to see is our weed of the week. We'll show you how to stop this tough weed later in the show.